This is an M-rated game, so viewer discretion is advised. This is the Wiiviewer
and the LilWiiviewer,
and we're going to review
Skyrim
for the Switch
and literally every other console in existence.
So you own this for the PC, right?
Correct.
You only played this on the PC. You actually didn't play the Switch version. This is your feelings based in general, because I'm the only one who played the Switch version. All the footage you're seeing is me. So what do you think of Skyrim?
It's good.
I have my issues with it, but it's minor stuff. I guess I've been spoiled on The Witcher 3 too much. Because to me, it's like, yeah, it's good, but it's no Witcher 3.
I don't know. I think The Witcher's too linear when it comes to story progression. This isn't a Witcher review.
Oh, it isn't? That'll probably be next year when The Witcher 3 comes out for the Switch.
I'd love to see that happen.
That makes two of us. So this is an open world game, and when we say open world, it really is an open world to do whatever you want. Are there any real quests that basically force you at a certain time to be there?
I don't really know.
I never ran into one.
There is a main story.
I know, I followed it quite far. Well, as far as I could tell, I mean, it branched off so many times, I'm like, wait, which part is the right main story? Because it got to a point where, like, all of a sudden I went to Morrowind. These monsters are killing me. And I went back to Skyrim, and I'm like, no, I'm staying here. I did find the quests a little boring at times.
It's an open world game, and for an open world game, you're gonna have sacrifices to game design.
Like what?
Like, for example, a lot of quests are basically just breadcrumbs, where you just follow the path until you get there, and then you do the thing, and then you go finish the quest. That's really all you do for pretty much every quest.
There were some interesting ones, like where there was this haunted house, and I go to investigate it, and I find out that the guy was using a scam to make people not come to his house, because he was looking for something. I thought that was clever, because it was in a town I was just, like, happened to go by.
Right, and there's a lot of little instances like that, because the way that the game is broken up is, if you ever played Breath of the Wild, it's very much like that, where instead of shrines, it's just little dungeons. That's typically how open world games go. They just plop little areas that you can go into and have a more linear structured dungeon style design. And in those dungeons, it's more compact, and the story can actually be like put together, like beginning to end within those.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think of the combat mechanics?
It's a pretty simple melee combat system.
Yeah, since it's first person, it's a little hard to judge when I'm slicing people and how far back I could be to not get hit. I know you can go into third person, but even that was kind of weird to do.
Well, it was very much not designed for third person. It's simplistic. It's a melee combat system. It does what it needs to do, and it works.
What do you think of archery?
I can't aim.
Actually, the motion controls work really well. I mean, it works a lot like Splatoon. Like even with your Pro Controller, which is mostly what I used, I could just slightly move the Pro Controller up, and it would slightly move the reticle around based on where I was motioning it. And it worked quite well. No, I was terrible at it. If I shoot an arrow at someone's face, I don't think they should be able to just keep coming at me.
Yeah, the arrow clearly didn't do enough damage to their brain.
It's like it's only sticking out of their eye. I'm gonna get you!
I can see perfectly.
I did like how you could customize basically everything. You could customize the keys. You can customize which hand holds what, like the fire spell or your sword or your axe. But I wish it would tell me on the screen when I'm choosing if it was a one-handed or two-handed. I kept selecting stuff that were two-handed. I'm like, no, I want one hand with fire and one hand with something like a sword or something. It should say on the screen, one-handed, two-handed.
I'm not going to disagree with that. It's true. It seems really easy to implement because they do it with armor. There's light and heavy armor, and they do specify.
Yeah, they do. Now, another thing that was a little weird was the dungeons. And it's because they were all basically just caves.
It's a lot of caves.
I have to think that if Skyrim ever had an earthquake, people would be going into the ground. Because this place is nothing but caves. I couldn't believe how many caves there were of like underground tunnels under Skyrim. I was expecting these dungeons to be like little smaller. No, they're huge. Some of these places you go to, other people haven't been to in years. But yet, everything's lit up. Like there's torches galore. I'm like, what is going on here? Are you trying to tell me that these people just left the lights on?
It's the skeletons and the ghosts.
Oh, don't get me started on those skeletons. Because basically, all the dungeons had the same characters in it. And it was really annoying. There was like little differences here and there, but most of the time you're fighting the exact same people in the exact same kind of areas. Just little tweaks here and there. They even use the same puzzles in some of the parts.
I mean, once again, what are you gonna do? Open world design, you're gonna have to compromise.
Now this one has all the DLC. And the DLC kind of like gets put in weird places. Because it's like, all of a sudden I got into a werewolf quest when I didn't even realize I was in one. I got turned into a werewolf. I'm like, wait, what?
The way how the DLC works is I believe that you just can't access it if you don't have the DLC. And that's, once again, a thing that happens with open world games, because where are you gonna put it? And you notice this in like every open world game. Breath of the Wild, they just kind of shove them into areas where no one has been. Other open world games do the same exact thing. So it's not uncommon to see DLC be shoved into a corner like that.
What'd you think of the way you level up?
It's interesting. I actually really like it, but it's very grindy.
You can pay to increase it.
Pay to win?
Well, in-game currency.
But I do like how each and every skill has its own level, and it's one of those things you feel accomplished all the time because you're leveling up all the time, because, you know, you got so many skills to level up.
Now, I know people are going to be like, Switch version, wow, you can play this on the go. I tried to do that, and I couldn't read anything on the screen.
That might be just your eyes, because I could read.
No, come on.
I could read fine.
Even if I was like wearing my grandma glasses, I couldn't read the screen because it is so tiny. I mean, it's not their fault. I mean, they're just showing it off basically the way it is on the screen that you're looking at.
I'm like 90% sure you can boost the HUD up. Also, you could just listen.
Yeah, then you gotta put on headphones.
Oh, you poor baby! Oh, what's next? You don't like using the Joy-Cons? Oh.
I don't like using the Joy-Cons. I would rather use the Pro Controller. What'd you think of the map?
It's large.
And I liked to fast travel to places because at certain points it was quite helpful. I found a cart and I took a ride. I'm like, I just picked a random town. It happened to be like halfway across the map where I hadn't even been yet. I'm like, whoa! So now I can just fast travel halfway across the map, just paying 50 gold pieces.
It's not a lot of gold, but it is a sizable amount.
I find more of that in the corpses of the people that I keep robbing in the dungeon.
Eventually, you're just gonna get to a point where that's nothing.
I did this on my live stream. I got a horse.
Congrats.
And I was following the arrow, and I'm like trying to climb this mountain with this horse. It is the most insane thing. Of course, I find out I was going the wrong way. I should just take an easy path, which you can watch in my live event that I did. But it was weird that the horse was not really having too much of a problem climbing mountains.
That's just a thing.
It is? Is that a Skyrim thing? Or
That's
is it
just the Skyrim thing.
where horses love climbing mountains?
There's a mountain, you can climb it.
With a horse?
With a horse. Breath of the Wild has nothing on Skyrim's climbing.
So, little Wiiviewers, Skyrim, would you buy, rent, sail, or skip?
It's a buy. So the game's been out for 6 years now. If you don't have it now, you're probably not going to play it ever. That being said, if you do want to play it, you probably should get the Switch version or the PC version if you can't aim. It's portable and it's Skyrim with all the DLCs. What else do you need?
And I agree with you. I think it's worth a buy. There is a ton of content here. It got to a point where I have like 15 quests stacked up. I have too much on my plate. I can't keep helping everybody.
So, surprise, surprise, to absolutely no one, it's worth a buy.